Many people believe that reaching F1 guarantees riches for life, not only on the grid but also outside of it. But from a world champion who lost millions as a Lloyd's underwriter to legends who saw their fortunes vanish overnight, these are the F1 drivers who went broke and lost everything. Let's dive in.
Wings, and yet you're still extremely fast. How do you do it?
Big balls.
Forget it.
Can't improve that.
The mercurial Hunt would only compete in the sport for 7 seasons before retiring. His World Championship win in 1976.
Let's start with one of F1's most iconic names, James Hunt, the 1976 World Champion. The man who lived life in the fast lane, both on and off the track. Hunt was the definition of a rockstar lifestyle. Fast cars, beautiful women, champagne and excess everywhere. During his racing years, he earned good money. But after retiring in 1979, everything started falling apart. First came the divorce. His split from his first wife, Susie Miller, cost him a fortune. But that was just the beginning. In the 1980s, Hunt became what's called a Lloyd's name, essentially an underwriter at Lloyd's of London. It seemed like a smart investment at first, but when Lloyd's faced catastrophic losses in the late 80s and early 90s, Hunt was hit hard. He lost hundreds of thousands of pounds. The Playboy lifestyle he'd built was crumbling. By the early 90s, Hunt was struggling financially. He took on BBC commentary work just to pay the bills. The man who once lived like royalty was now watching races from a commentary box, trying to make ends meet. In 1993, at just 45 years old, James Hunt suffered a heart attack and died in his London apartment. His years of excess, the smoking, drinking and stress had caught up with him. He died with far less money than anyone would have expected from a world champion.
Well, the first thing about Emerson Fittipaldi is that he was the first of the Brazilians.
Laps of the race to score Roger Penske's 9th Indianapolis 500 victory. Fittipaldi has won the 500. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Well, the gentleman sees Mansell was 3rd, Raul Boisel 4th, in 5th, Mario Andretti 6th, Scott Brayton. Scott Goodyear came across the line in 7th. 8th was Alonso Jr. Teo Fabi came across in 9th.
Now let's talk about Emerson Fittipaldi, the legendary Brazilian 2-time world champion. You already know the story of how he left McLaren in 1975 to race for his brother Wilson's team, Copersucar-Fittipaldi. It was supposed to be a patriotic dream come true. But what happened after was an absolute financial disaster. The team never achieved success. They burned through money year after year, trying to compete with the big teams. And when Emerson retired in 1980, the bills came due. The Fittipaldi family faced multiple bankruptcies related to the F1 team. They had to sell assets, properties, and everything they'd built. The dream of a competitive Brazilian F1 team turned into a financial nightmare. What should have been a comfortable retirement for a 2-time world champion became years of financial stress and legal battles. Emerson eventually rebuilt his career in America through IndyCar racing, where he found success again. But the scars from the F1 venture never fully healed. The family business that was supposed to make them legends instead nearly destroyed them financially.
It's a tremendous race and a great one to come and watch. And if anybody's going to come and see a Grand Prix, this is really the one.
To me, it's a thrill to see an expert at work. Upon meeting Graham Hill, you like him. Watching him made me become more interested in racing and what these men were doing.
This next story is one of the most tragic in F1 history. We're talking about Graham Hill, the only driver ever to win the Triple Crown of Motorsport, the Monaco Grand Prix, Indianapolis 500, and Le Mans 24 Hours. In 1975, Hill was returning from a test session in France, piloting his own plane with 5 team members aboard. The weather was terrible, foggy and dark. The plane crashed in Hertfordshire, England. Graham Hill and everyone on board died instantly. But here's where it gets truly heartbreaking. The insurance on the aircraft had expired just days before the crash. Graham's family, his wife Bette and children, including future F1 driver Damon Hill, were left with nothing. No life insurance payout, no financial safety net, nothing. Damon Hill has spoken openly about how difficult life became after his father's death. They went from being a racing dynasty family to struggling financially. Bette Hill had to raise the children alone with limited resources. The family home, the lifestyle they'd known, it all vanished. Young Damon had to delay his own racing dreams for years because there simply wasn't money for it. When he finally made it to F1 and won the World Championship in 1996, it wasn't just a sporting achievement, it was redemption for an entire family that had lost everything.
And now here comes Jenson Button, the 2009 World Champion. Look at the relief, look at the joy. We are the champions, my friends. We are world champions, world champions.
Here's a story that might surprise you. Jenson Button, the 2009 world champion, was once completely broke despite racing in Formula One. In the early 2000s, Button was a rising star at Williams and then Renault. Everyone expected him to be earning millions. But in interviews, Button admitted he had almost no money. Why? Terrible financial management. He trusted the wrong people with his finances, bad investments, poor advice, and expenses that far exceeded his actual income. Button was driving million-dollar race cars while struggling to pay his own bills. He described checking his bank account and seeing almost nothing there. The turning point came when he realized he needed to take control of his own finances. He fired his management team, hired proper advisors, and started being smarter with money. By the time he joined Honda and then Brawn GP, where he won his championship, Button had turned things around completely. Today, he's financially secure, but he's never forgotten those years of being broke while living what everyone thought was a glamorous life. It's a reminder that even F1 drivers can face serious money troubles if they're not careful. Eddie Irvine, the charismatic Northern Irish driver who spent years alongside Michael Schumacher at Ferrari, seemed to have it all figured out. He was known for his business savvy, his property investments, and his playboy lifestyle. But Irvine has publicly stated he lost substantial amounts of money at one point in his life. Some reports suggest it was related to the 2008 financial crisis and property market crash. Others hint at failed business ventures. The exact details remain vague. Irvine is notoriously private about his finances now. But what we do know is that someone who was once worth an estimated £100 million took significant financial hits. Unlike some drivers, Irvine was smart enough to recover, but it shows that even the most business-minded drivers aren't immune to major losses. These are just some of the F1 drivers who proved that fame, success, and a world championship don't guarantee financial security. From James Hunt's Lloyd's losses to the Fittipaldi family bankruptcies, from Graham Hill's tragic ending to Jenson Button's early struggles, these stories remind us that reaching the pinnacle of motorsport is just the beginning. Money management, smart decisions, and sometimes just pure luck determine whether drivers retire comfortably or face financial ruin. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And let me know in the comments which F1 driver's financial story shocked you the most.